Welcome back, Summoners, to the last match, most likely the most awaited match of the LVL tonight. But before all that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Atlas. We will be your shoutcasters for the last match of the FPU IT versus TUP. One of the, I would say, the prominent names before LVL even started during the LCL era.
And of course, these two are not strangers to this level of play, the collegiate level of play. FEU IT, well, this is a new team in terms of, because there was a main FEU team. It was split between the main team and then the IT team. So now we have this team in the LVL, and they're showing what they've got today. And this is, I think, one of the best ways to actually end off this very first day of the LOL Varsity League.
And I gotta say, for TUP, I have high expectations because not just from the fact that they are pure veterans when it comes to the collegiate league, but they were so close in making to the championships when they were in the LCL, very, very close, one series away, and they just plummeted. And now this is their chance.
It's a new beginning for them for this LVL, definitely. So I'm really looking forward to what both of these teams can actually pull off. So far, rookies versus veterans, it's always been ending in a 1-1. So the power levels are relatively even, and that's definitely exciting.
So before all that, let's hear it from themselves. I mean, their legacies in the LCL, moving on to the LVL.
Gusto naming ipakita kung ano yung pagkakaiba namin sa ibang university. Alam namin may kanya-kanyang lakas, may kanya-kanyang weakness yung iba't ibang university. Pero pipilitin namin at gagawin namin lahat para umangat sa lahat.
I guess it's just another tournament that you approach intending to win. It doesn't matter like the tournament format or who's playing or who I'm playing with. Those things are very minor, as if you just think about how to win. At the end of the day, if you win all of your games, you won't run into any problems.
Honestly, I couldn't be any happier because we finally get the system we needed to bring back that championship to UST.
We are there to compete for the highest level we could achieve, and of course we are aiming for the best that we can do. From the previous years, we saw schools, UPD competing in LICC, the international competitions, and we want to prove ourselves when we get there, and we want to do our best to show that we can also reach that level, and we may even surpass that level.
We want to be able to pass on the knowledge that we've gained throughout the years to a set of new people who still are extremely passionate about the game, who still have that fire to win, and hopefully, again, like, we build a legacy out of this.
If we're gonna start something, might as well start something that we're actually good at.
The video says it all. I mean, their attitude, their passion, moving into the LVL is something that you have to see and witness. And now, let us witness the last match of tonight, TUP versus FEU Tech. I mean, this is actually one of the most awaited matches because just from the fact that TUP has such a big name they carry. They were the ex-champions. Rather, they were so close to the championships, but they just couldn't make the cut.
And definitely, this LVL here, it's a new beginning. It's a very somber moment for everyone, the veterans especially, and it's an exciting moment for the new teams that are entering this league. And so definitely, there's lots of expectations, both because there's been so much preparation. This has been in the works since the December of last year. So all the teams here, all the coaches, all the players, they've had a lot of chances to prepare for this, and this all builds up to this day and everything that follows, every LVL day that follows. It's a test of skill, test of adaptivity, everything.
So let us see who will be playing for their respective schools. Let us see their lineup for TUP and FEU Tech. But first off, let us go to TUP, Asidia. Asidia in the top lane, we have heard his name before in the LCL, now making his entrance in the LVL, followed by CZA for the jungle, Baam for the mid lane, Navi for ADC, Miko for the supports. Very familiar names that I'm very known for in the LCL, now making their stage debut in the LVL, which their coach, Ferdinand.
Definitely. And as for FEU, ITI Tamaraos, we've got Asher in the top lane, Mint in the jungle, Seth in the mid lane, as well as Neil and D for the bot lane, with their coach, of course, Eman Kirizvus Malilay.
So with that being said, we finally know who will be playing for their respective schools. This is their roster entering into the drafting phase of the LVL, the last match for tonight's first ever broadcast, the debut of the League of Legends Varsity League.
Definitely, it's going to be very exciting seeing how the different teams play in this new patch. Of course, we've got LeBlanc and Galio as well as Shanband out against FEU. As for TUP, they will not be able to use some very heavy engaged tanks here, Zidroni and Leona. We saw how much power they had in the previous matches, as well as the Malzahar. Man, that Malzahar from the last match was just juicy, but TUP, will they be first picking the Scourge of the Depths? Is this going to be Gangplank for this first pick? That's a very brave pick if they are picking that up.
Well, with the recent changes to the rules reforged, have you heard of Kleptomancy?
Yeah, it is amazing on Ezreal. It is amazing on Gangplank, and the ability to just have those consumables, mana potion included, it definitely helps out Gangplank's
not just
weak
that,
earning
the
phase.
gold itself.
The gold, yeah.
And also the fact that the mana which Gangplank, I know you are very, very respectable to the champion itself, the Gangplank. You played yourself. What can you say that the Kleptomancy, the mana potion, is going to be, what, a game changer for a Gangplank?
Yeah, it definitely changes up how you lane Gangplanks. Usually you just submit to the dominance of the other top lane. The dominance of the other top laner. But here, I think in the hands of Acedia, definitely a skilled player, a much more skilled player than I am. He's going to put the
Most
new runes
definitely.
to good use. As for the rest of the team, the players here, they'll be banning out the Janna, which is, I think, still quite potent with the new changes in the runes. Rise as well with Arcane Comet is definitely scary. Zed and Syndra, you do not want to get bursted down by those champions. As for the rest of their picks, seems like TUP will be picking up an Azir. I'm not sure. I haven't speculated on what the new changes to the runes have on Azir, but we'll be seeing in this game, because there's definitely lots of potential with, say, lethal tempo and whatnot. As for CZA, he's going to be bringing a Rek'Sai. That's a lot of map pressure early game. As for FEU, Mint is picking up the Jarvan, which is a very standard jungler, especially with the new Electrocute. It's not really new, it's literally just Thunderlords.
I mean,
it's literally just a red Thunderlords.
It's just a red Thunderlords, but I don't think they should pick up the Electrocute on a Jarvan, because Electrocute becomes this more heavy damage base. You have to invest in damage. If you're going to go Electrocute, invest all in damage, but if you don't invest too much, the Electrocute is not that worth.
It's really only if you're looking for that early high damage ganks. They have the Ornn for tankiness in the top lane as well, and that Ornn from the previous matches is actually quite potent. I know that you love using the Ornn, and you are excited.
And you love using the Gangplank.
Yeah, so it's literally just us against each other for this game, but it's not about us. It's about these two teams. And really, the new runes, the new season, the new blood of these players actually gives rise to these picks as well. These picks that you might not often see in other regions of play. So it's definitely very exciting to see how all this will play out after the drafting phase, because definitely the Rune Free Forge update definitely changed up the priorities of what teams will be picking up.
Yeah, as when we're talking about the matchup, especially the top lane, the Ornn and the Gangplank, that Ornn is going to have a hell time. I gotta say, that Gangplank, for Acedia, a skilled player like Acedia, who was constantly focus banned during his LCL days, is now going to be having a free lane against this Ornn, and this is going to be trouble, because when a Gangplank does scale, that is just going to be disastrous. Knowing that in the preseason, everyone is soft as jelly.
Definitely.
If you don't invest in armor, that is.
And because everyone's base stats have been changed up, like AD armor base health is higher, but you can't have that same investment of immediate early armor as you did when you had the previous runes, where you could have like 9 armor yellows and whatnot. For this, it's really about the base stats, and it's really more focused on what that champion was made for and what runes you apply to that champion.
Like, you can't suddenly just make this someone's supposed to be a tank be a Sun and Bruiser, because right now I gotta say, Bruisers, top laners will be overshadowed by tanky top laners like Maokai, Ornn, and I would say even the Galio is making a comeback, because Renekton and Camille were being shown here, and I gotta say, they have very low success rate, what your team really needs.
So I think it's a lot of the LCL players from yesterday as well as the LVL players today. They're still adjusting. They've had only a couple days to practice with this new patch. If they had access to like PvE, then they're fortunate. But not everyone has that access. Not even pro or semi-pro players here, and that's like very little time to practice. But this is really a test of how much they can adapt, how fast they can change their tactics, their mentality for a new paradigm of playing.
So let us all see that once we load up to the Rift. This is the last match, the most awaited match, because I would say for when it was in the LCL days, TUP had a lot of, I would say, stories, lots of fans, and the names of the players are still constant, especially Navi, and I say they're already playing for the LVL stage. But for FEU Tech, you're talking about a series where rookies and veterans, again, there's this pattern, as you said. Do you think we might see the same pattern again here?
It's I definitely can't say. I could not predict anything about the previous matches whatsoever. It could be a little skewed towards TUP's side because you've got these very familiar names in Acedia and Navi, but these new players, and especially with the new patch, everything is very chaotic. They can probably bring out something that might surprise TUP and clinch the win from that. It's definitely possible. It's also possible that they've been training so hard over the past few weeks and it just manifested something definitely powerful today. It's really anyone's game, I think.
So this is going to be the last match again. You are watching the LOL Varsity League, the first ever episode that I think is a big step towards esports in the Philippines, making the 7 pioneering schools, the 7 schools who participated, they have made, I mean, a big leap in terms of how to really determine what is something that's worth as an esports or a varsity, because I think that just from the fact that they're getting support from their admins and their respective schools, it's already a huge blessing.
Because it really helps out on like expanding the reach as well as the acceptance of esports. Of course, here we're looking at the rundown once again. Pretty good team fighting composition for both of these teams. And it's going to be very explosive once the game reaches its mid-game and especially its late-game point. It's going to be very scary.
So let's move on to the Rift. This is going to be Game 1 of Match 3, the last match for tonight's broadcast. TUP MVP on the blue side versus FEU Tech FIT on the red side.
It seems like they're both converging around the bot side. Oh, Navi almost ran head first into that group of 5
yeah,
people.
you really have to take note of that newly enhanced home start, because you're like a speeding race car. It's super fast, and you might crash and burn. You can't even do that drift to at least dodge. So I think that was actually a bullet dodge by both teams. Clearly, the really fast home start is showing their effect here.
It seems like they're now just roaming around the entrances of this jungle. It's quite different from how the rest of the teams played out their level 1s, actually, because here Tamaraos actually just went down bot side immediately and converged there to try and go for a play. They would have full committed to that, actually, if ever they were able to get a jump on Navi. But really, it's because the Ghost Wards like this. I think the Ghost Ward really changes up how level 1s play out. Like, usually I prefer Eyeball Collector, but if you're going for this one, it's good to have one person who has Ghost Ward, because you can get down a ward early game, and then in the entrance of a jungle or in a jungle camp of the opposing team, and the Ghost Ward will persist there until they get there.
And I would really love how I wonder how does the Ghost Portal work, because I've actually placed down a Ghost Portal, and when the enemy jungler actually goes into the brush side, doesn't really scare away. The description said it scares away incoming ganks, but I have yet to see. Maybe my Portal is just too friendly.
It's too cute. It actually attracts more ganks. So we'll be seeing how it all plays out and how these junglers move, because they seem to be converging around the top side, which is understandable. You don't want your Ornn, you don't want a Shera to be constantly bullied out once Cedia is able to get like a Sheen in, or Oh man, I've not seen that in forever. You see that green ward there?
The
Man.
power of the kleptomancy. I mean, this is
Travel.
this is gonna take you back in time. This is gonna bring you back to the good old days where you see items that you're so used to seeing, and now you will be the only one to have it. So this gives a huge advantage, and I think
It's really good for laning.
Yeah, really good for laning, and Acedia will have an easy time. But this is the fact that when TUP, their captain, said that they have more experience than and mechanics than FIT, that they are feeling more confident.
And it's quite natural that you would have that kind of confidence. But of course, FIT has a lot of confidence. Their captain D actually says that they trust their carries a lot more than they're afraid of TUP. So it's like guts over fear for them, and it might actually pull them through it, but they have to be very careful. Both of these teams have to be careful not to get blindsided by the opposition.
Oh my,
that free potion.
Ooh. Merry Christmas to Acedia. I really love how the mechanics for Kleptomancy works, but I think this really makes the start of the gang plan. He takes a long time to actually scale up those silver serpents and the gold. And I think the Kleptomancy just ignores everything.
Miko might go for something.
Oh, he will go for a flash. That is actually very rewarding for TUP. Miko burning that flash
That could
from
be
Neil.
that could be very nice timing with Caesar around this bot side of the river with no flash on that Zaya. It's quite possible he could go for a gank here.
He may go for an invade though.
Could also go for that. They're not even expecting it.
Okay, no flash for the Zaya. That's going to be a very bad info. Looks like headbutt will be going on to the Zaya. First blood, is that sick? Who's going to get it? It's going to be TUP's ADC. Here comes Nick for the counter guy, but is that a good choice? He is immediately getting shot down by the Kaden and the slow, forcing out his flash.
Man, I do think that having the press the attack on Navi is really quite useful, especially if we're going over all in.
Shurima Drift. Look at the damage coming in. I wonder if he's running the lethal tempo on this Azir, because obviously when you stack 3 Sand Soldiers...
Seems like he has someone airy, which is still quite potent.
Oh, flash burn, but he did... Oh, that's actually a good interaction. And I think the third dive is in favor for TUP. That's a close call for Caesar.
Just one more Praise Seeker, unfortunately, Burrow on cooldown there.
And for, I would say for Zed, very unfortunate that he flashed at the same time the airborne actually registered. So he had a really awkward stun.
Definitely. Here seems like Acedia on his first back will
already gets the Sheen.
The Sheen will definitely make it harder for Ashera to survive in this lane.
Oh, wow.
Before Acedia gets the Sheen, he is quite behind and he gets bullied in because he doesn't deal enough damage against Ashera. But now, with a mix of physical damage and magical damage, the Glacial Shroud won't be as effective.
And he has to immediately pick up the Ninja Tabe. Knowing that Acedia picked up the Sheen already, he has to really quickly adapt. But he may just go for the Righteous Glory, picking up the rejuvenating bead.
It will help him against the constant harass that Acedia will be putting up as well. No real jungle pressure on this top side just yet, as unlike what I expected. But it seems like Acedia is really satisfied with having a slow-paced lane here with no jungler to pressure him.
I mean, just from looking at their composition, they have an Azir and a Caitlyn. They are picturing this to be going for the late game, so really interesting to see how Acedia is very calm in his lane. But for bot lane, I gotta say they're itching for a fight. They're not really respecting the engage from the Alistar. This is the melee support matchup, and for this Rakan to actually go in on this Caitlyn, I gotta say for Alistar, that is actually a huge counter towards a Rakan.
Just being able to just headbutt him away no matter what. Even if he's charmed, he can just probably break out of it with his ultimate. So it's got to be really, really careful, especially for ganks, because Navi has the press the attack. He can make everyone else deal more damage against his main target. And if Caesar ganks, or if Bomb roams down, it's going to be 12% more damage.
I'm gonna say for this preseason patch, it's really making the ADC shine the most, especially
Shurima shuffle.
Oh, that would be the Emperor's Divide, but that would be under the turret.
Dear.
Oh my goodness, but the heal is there. Oh,
not enough.
That's not enough. Very close call indeed. But here comes the gang into the bot lane, knocked into the air. The Alistar is in big trouble. That level 6 does not have the breakable, but the Rakan is very low. The Cannon Barrage will not finish him off. But Navi, though, getting a really easy kill onto mid.
That is still a loss, actually. for FIT because that was a 3v2 and you still lost 1-for-1.
Very
However,
close.
that was very close for D there.
Yeah, I mean, the timing for Acedia for the cannon barrage was on point, but Rakan is very mobile.
Can just move out of there, and he does have that shield for himself as his passive, and I think the timing was actually right for D there.
So far, 8 minutes into the game, kill score 2-2. Even kill score, but look at the harassment in the top lane.
Cher doesn't have mana.
Same as the Ors. So far, for Ashira and Acedia, they both have no mana, but it's weird that I don't see this Orange picking up a corrupting potion, because if he did pick up the corrupting potion, I mean, he would stay in lane so long, especially if you pick up the mana flow ban. Man, that Ornn is a living fountain. He will not even go home. He will just buy items due to his passive.
And I think that's why Corrupting Potion works pretty well in Ornn, and I think why Ashira should have gotten it is because you can buy everything else in the shop except for consumables, which is Corrupting Potion. So you can minimize your backs, which increases your uptime in lane, allows you to pressure that top lane even more, especially against a Gangplank who is, if left unchecked, can scale up so much faster. But look at that invade coming in from mid, giving off the blue buff to Ashira, so maybe that was their plan. That could have been planned a few minutes in advance that Ashira would be getting the blue buff. Maybe it was an information because they knew that Caesar started bot side, right? So they probably knew the general time of when Caesar would be bot side to clear his camps.
Interesting that the blue buff went to Ornn, but seeing how Azir is, I did see that he is running the mana flow ban plus the mana sustaining item.
Dear, that's again.
Oh, two-member knock up to the air, and the Emperor's Divide does not connect, but that would be the divide. Oh, Bam is very low. He will be forced to flash up in.
Airy clinched that kill for Set, and that Emperor's Divide missing actually was a big miscommunication there because the headbutt pushed it out of the way of the damage, and that's quite unfortunate for Bomb. Let's see what happens.
The Forge God. I see the flashes away. Belongs to the air, does land the cleanse, but still has the brittle stacks. Gets knocked out by does relentless charge from the Ornn. So that will be the Searing Charge securing the kill, whereas Mint will be picking up it instead. But in bot lane, looks like Caesar looking for some blood. D staying so close to Neil. Here gets up to the air, but he does land the Finish Storm, locking down two members of TUP. But in return, the first turret will be going towards TUP.
And I think TUP is still quite ahead in here. 2.5k gold lead, building it up from the CS leads as well as the bot side, as well as the pressure on the other lanes. It means that they get that in bot lane turret quite easily because of their ability to be aggressive against D and Neil.
Looks like we're going to be seeing Safe and D in the ocean pit. Look at your flash burn. Caesar just not finishing up the ocean drake, taking a lot of damage. Ace in the hole is available so far, but the blue team will be securing the ocean. They started, but Nico will be that casualty and forcing out a flash from Caesar. But on the top of Acedia gets knocked up to the air, blocks down by the Cataclysm, and that would be a Searing Charge miss, and that'll be a trade-off. Acedia makes it on top thanks to the oranges.
Well played there by Acedia, being able to survive for so long, having pre-placed barrels to act in preparation for a gank from Mint. It could have been really bad if he got killed there, being camped by Mint, but there he clinches it, turns it around, and actually on his next back he will have the Triforce available, and that is a huge power spike.
And I think for Ashir, he should not have been too afraid to destroy the walls of the Jarvan with his Searing Charge, because if he actually destroys the wall, it's okay, because Acedia will get knocked up. At that clash, the Ornn didn't do anything, just watched as the Jarvan tried to duel it, but that's the mistake that I would say Ashira made. He should have used the Searing Charge to knock him up.
Yeah, it could have been more downtime for Acedia, more chances for Mint and Ashira to actually take him down. That was quite unfortunate for FIT, but of course you're not out of this yet. It's not like Acedia is full-on snowball. It's going to be bad.
Forge God coming in, knocks up the Caitlyn, but that would be 3 members versus 2. They'll be forced back away. Looks like D and Ashira
It's coming in.
will be forced to back off. Yes, we do see Bam in the mid lane river side. They may go for a clash, but of course that's going to be a really huge risk. And going for a lane swap with the Gangplank.
Acedia has got this lane for free for a little while, allowing him to catch up in terms of creep score. So just having that free time the bot side, waiting while Ashira has to recall and go down there to respond. This allows Acedia to place some vision, which will allow him to survive any more ganks against Mint. Better prepare. So that will actually be very, very useful. Bomb here in the mid lane, just CSing. Been pretty good so far for him, but Set has been clinching these kills as well. But TUP is still going for these turrets. Definitely know what their win condition is in the early game.
So far, they are going for the pushing game. They already have the first turret in their hands, going for the second turret in the top lane, outer side. And for FIT, they're just forced to watch. They can't do anything. Looks like the lane swap will be more in favor of TUP.
It's really because of the roam potential of both Bomb and Set, even though Set is much more ahead of Bomb.
Look at that.
Kleptomancy. But when it comes to the defenses and the all-ins, it's definitely going to be the Alistar and Caitlyn paired with Caesar. Going to be much more powerful than Mint right now, who has built Cinderhawk. So so it's better scaling for Rek'Sai actually. And the power spike for Navi has been reached before Neos.
So far, looks like TUP taking majority of the outer turrets away from FIT. Plus, the Ocean Drake did fall to TUP. They have great macro so far. Gold lead reaching 4,000. But if you want to be, let's see, precise, 3,100.
Just really slowing down right now for a little bit. But you have to assume that something big might happen on the next time that Acedia's teleport could be up. Of course, he's a gangplank, so his teleport. But he does have the Triforce now, so his teleports might actually be very painful if FIT overcommits.
Yeah, if they commit at this point in time where everyone is skating really well, especially the gangplank, they might be in a big trouble, especially Navi with the Prestige attack. For Neil, he has that huge burst damage, but they have to be really wary of the character because let's say you landed with the Cataclysm from Mint. That is a free ult zone for Zay.
This has to be quite careful with that, but around the mid side will definitely be where the next big fight or skirmish will happen. Set is really defending that well with his natural wave clear. TUP might go for some pressure around here on the Rift Herald side, just a little bit of control over that area. Remind FIT, don't get too complacent defending that mid lane. Seems like Mint counter warding as well. It's really just a powder keg waiting to explode this game. TUP is still looking for a way where they can just dominate FIT. Look for an opportunity where they can get a full-on fight. Here comes Bomb, however.
Oh, that was big. Quick decision. I mean, with a flash there, he saved his life. Well, heal rather, but leave it to the Shurima Sand Soldiers to drift him to safety, and D taking a lot of turret hits.
Yeah, and I think D preempted Bomb's back.
Oh, Shurima drift! It works! That is so satisfying. Force God coming in, but yes, that would be
direct hit with the Call of the Forge God. But this leaves so much room for TUP to push that top side. Acedia will now be the target of these three.
Oh, trying to get away. Oh, he does land it onto Seed. Acedia dueling 3 members, but you can't win 3 members when you're not that far ahead. Very close call, but still.
Top lane.
Yeah, top lane was able to secure a lot of pressure, but no turrets.
It's still going to be Navi season now recuperating in his lane.
Do you like my soldiers? Drift straight to it.
Yep, and then he gets instantly killed by Call of the Forge God.
But at least he was able to knock back the Jarvan. I mean, if the Jarvan was a bit low in health, that may have been a double kill.
Yeah, and I think it all started when D went for the engage dive, because that was very preemptive how he did his grand entrance behind Bomb, expecting him to back off when he realizes something's wrong. So because of that, it completely misses, allows Bomb to get a reaction and then drift away.
And so far when you drift from that, that was actually a quick move. I mean, I thought the Shurima drift won't be that fast due to the recent changes, but still, it's all about timing, I would say. And right now,
it's really combining it with combining Shifting Sands with the Conquering Sands.
Yeah, and now you'll be seeing the Mountain Drake.
Jesus poised to steal.
Oh, he wants it, but
man.
can't get it. So that would
burrow in.
That's too risky to do that, actually.
Yeah, but this does allow Bomb to get more of that gold, establish some territory with that.
He doesn't know there's a turret right there. It goes up in the air, and that would be them backing up Cannon Rogers in the Shurima zone, and another drift. 2 members get shielded up, gets blocked. by the soldiers themselves, and that will be TUP getting the double kill for BAM!
That is quite potent.
Look at that. Emperor's Divide just glitching, just clipping them to the wall. They couldn't even move.
Yeah, they just constantly got pinned down on that side. This gives TUP another turret in the mid side, opens up the map so much for them, gives them a substantial lead. They could even go for another one. This wave is still quite substantial. They have a lot of damage on their side with Navi, with Bomb, with Acedia. They can chunk this turret to half health, but I think now they have to just recuperate and get out of there. Way too dangerous to overstay the rope.
Oh, they have to back off. They did what they want. I mean, great position to put the turret there. I don't think Rakan knew what he was doing. Not enough information, but here is the replay.
Just enters this not knowing there's a sand turret right there, but even though he gets out of dodge, that's a beautiful Emperor's Divide coming from Bomb. Look at how Ashera and Mint just get stuck there. And that actually, because that's two engaged tools, the Jarvan as well as the Ornn, two frontliners taken out, they can easily get a second turret.
And the turret actually secured the double kill for BAM. The Mint got hit to the last turret shot from the turret itself, so that will be TUP taking away the Rift Herald, while the Baron will be live in 51 seconds.
They'll have to make great use of that Rift Herald to make everything worth it. Oh, it seems they're immediately using it.
Ooh, interesting. They are going to be timing it with the, I would say, look at that Rift Herald. Sneaky little guy going straight, bypassing all
but
those
that's just
waves.
one turret. This will immediately be struck down by Bomb here. So one turret, that's not really a too effective use of Rift Herald. Ideally, you'll get 2 turrets or even 3, or you time it with a siege on another lane so you can get like 4 or 3 turrets across the map. There, it was just a kind of a throwaway. Okay, let's get top lane finally, and I don't think that's very effective use. Mint could have used it to apply more pressure on the map. That empowered recall is actually quite potent on a jungler.
So maybe he would have used it on on the top side, where it's pushing on their side, and then start the Baron. How about that? That's great pressure.
That's great pressure, but for now, I think they won't be. It's way too. They do Baron way too slow at this point, and you know it hadn't spawned.
Are you a helicopter, Atlas?
No, I identify as an Akashi attack helicopter.
So I think for TUP to actually have the same vision as the helicopter themselves, going for an aerial bird's eye view, they need some proper, visions, especially in the Baron. It's pitch black, I would say.
Both of these teams need to establish some amount of vision around this Baron. FIT has a mountain break, which is 10%. That's not too big, but if TUP slips up, they can get that faster than usual. FIT has to be really careful with vision around this Baron side.
And when I look at those Sand Soldiers, if I see 2, I'm not afraid. But when I see 3, I would just flash away because the sheer raw damage coming in from the DPS itself from the Azir is just something that you don't want to stay in. And Jarvan is a champion who would go in and stay inside the zone of the Azir. And I think that's going to be something they have to work around with, and especially the Emperor's Divide. But Ornn, for Ashira, I think he can just safely break down the walls of Azir and just, at the last part, Orano, why didn't he use the Searing Charge to break the Emperor's Divide?
Maybe he thought that it won't break it because
it does break it, though.
Yeah, but before you just get pushed away. Maybe he's not that familiar with that interaction.
Maybe he was just clipped too much to the wall.
Or maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason. So I would love to see Ashira, breaking down the walls of the Emperor's Divide, therefore ruining the position advantage that TP has.
Here comes Bomb right around the mid lane. A lot of pressure. For now, this is a very good configuration here. It's actually a 3-1-1 configuration. They've got the Navi, who is quite ahead. Look at that. Over 60 CS, 50 CS ahead of Niel. And because Acedia is a gangplank, he split pushes very, very quickly and can duel a lot of opponents. Can just wave clear so fast with its very safe trap line. Because Caitlyn is in the top side, is in a solo side lane. They only have like one entrance to engage onto this. Oh, look at that damage from Bomb. They have only one entrance to actually gank or engage onto Navi, and it's either a frontal assault or a back assault, which is hard and almost impossible to execute. So this is a very good configuration.
Yeah, I would say that This really chokes FIT's position and movement. So let's see. We can't go through there. There are traps there. And Alistar...
Oh, those traps? So yeah, but this just allows Navi to set up more traps while Acedia pressures this bot lane bomb as well while they're having traps in the top side. They have this sand turret here. Once it expires, after a few minutes, bomb can set up another. So it's just one big cycle of TUP just constantly pressuring FIT, and FIT needs to pull the trigger because, like, with this, they're just going to keep being choked out by TUP.
And when they get constantly choked out, as you said, especially the trap position there, great move by TUP. And I think FIT had a really good restraint there, not to just recklessly go in.
Seems like for now, while Bomb doesn't have his passive to set up some territory with the turrets and Dragon is up, they'll be backing off from that area.
Yeah, when the Baron is actually live, we've seen it before, even in LCL and LVL. The Baron can always work against you or with you, and it's when you're going for a 50-50. All the time, the Baron is a 50-50 because who knows what might happen.
And actually, it won't be a 50-50 if TUP gets ahead of themselves and starts doing Baron. It's actually not a 50-50 because Mint is 2 levels above Caesar.
Oh, wow.
So there's actually a substantial amount of difference in the smite damage. But here, another Ocean Drake. This is so good for when they start sieging and pressuring across 3 lanes. They can just do the same setup as earlier.
Yeah, I love how the setup themselves, when TP does that setup, it's going to sustain them so well. But maybe they're eyeing the Baron next. And I love how Caesar is itemizing towards more defense. This is what I was talking about all throughout the preseason changes. You have to pick a role that you want to stick to and invest a lot of items towards it. Obviously, when we talk about the Rek'Sai, what do Rek'Sais pick up? Already the Titanic Hydra, right? But now we're seeing that this Rek'Sai picking up the Night's Vow for their ADC, Navi. So now
could also go to bomb.
Yes, that's true, and that's how I would say players are quickly adapting because let's say Caesar goes for the Titanic Hydra. Yes, he gets damage, he gets clear, but what happens to his engage? He won't even last, I would say, long in a team clash where there's a Jarvan, there's a Xayah.
Definitely a good knowing of his role in the team.
And I think he should pick up some MR because that Ornn and that Victor is going to be something you want to watch out for.
I think he's building into the Merc Treads, and then I think he is building into the Hydra after that.
Yeah, I would say 2 long swords, yes, Tiamat, but for the Alistar, may go for the Agents of the Legion, followed by the Solari.
That could be very potent. Blocks off a lot of the burst potential that Neil and
Oh
Seth
boy,
have.
backside, that would be Mint going in for Navi. He gets slowed, goes in with a lockdown, but he does get out with the caliber shot. Looks like Nico is there. Oh, flash over that one for his Z, but there is the recover for the protection. Looks Navi will not survive. The caliber rush was a bit too off.
Man, that is 2 deaths for nothing. TUP get pincered there because they weren't able to set up. And this might actually give FIT a chance to go to Baron. That is Featherstorm, not available for Neil. So Caesar and Bomb are the vanguard against this Baron extermination party that FIT wants to establish.
Bam, going in for the Shurima Drip. Oh, that's so close, but he will be taken out. But for Caesar, he will just play the teasing game. You're going to look for now, but he does go for the execute.
In the end, it's a 2 for 3 and not 2 for 4 actually.
God.
TUP loses 2, but because FIT overstays their welcome, Bomb kicks them out of this territory.
I say they're going for a duel against his Ord. Buying some time, we do see 2 members trying to kite them out. He will be tanking some turret hits. Why not? He may just go for an execute here.
Oh dear.
Or maybe not.
He's staying a long time.
Oh god, he's trying to go in. He goes for the Victor instead, then just taps him from the back. Oh, very close. Looks like
This
that
does delay a lot of time,
Yeah.
because look at that. 4 members on Baron. Good job there by Acedia. Just
Wow, what? They took Baron?
They took Baron while he was distracting
Oh.
Set.
That was
means,
a very fast Baron.
That means there's no Chaos Storm disruptions from Set, so there's no chance that while doing Baron, Navi will get instantly bursted down.
Great play from TUP. I mean, I didn't even know they were picking Baron. I was so
You
fixed.
don't pick up the middle.
I look at the mini-map a lot more than you, Atlas.
But here, very well played from TUP. They're 10,000 gold ahead. They have 2 Ocean Drakes, which is absolutely perfect for their composition right now. What they're missing is just an Earth, a Mountain Drake to really up their objective damage.
And I think the reason why I couldn't look at the minimap properly is because I lacked vision on the red side. You can see in the Baron that they have not much vision control. Look at that.
Oh. He does not have any ammo.
He does not have any defensive stats towards his Azir. And he will be using the Call of the Forge God. It looks like Seed will be picked off. Already fixating himself onto Navi. Very low in health, but he does get some nice bow. That'll be a shutdown towards Seed. But now Bab trying to run away from P. Changes his mind.
Oh.
Ooh, the Sand Soldiers are so
much zone control, so much control of territory over Bomb's Empire right now. And now they're just going for a standard setup here with 4 members on one lane and 1 on the other. But look at that.
Yeah,
Okay, 2 members rather. CD and Bomb together deal so much damage onto these turrets.
Great passive from the Sand Soldiers, getting the attack speed that will quickly demolish the inhibitor. Now they are aiming for the bot lane inhibitor turret.
So Acedia's passive as well after a few seconds or after triggering a powder keg.
Acedia
burns down Structure so fast.
Yes, Acedia wants to go for the flank, but they will be forced to just give away 2 inhibitors.
Or almost 3 actually. Will FIT try and pull the trigger here?
D might go for a flank.
He doesn't have his ultimate, doesn't have the quickness.
But he does have to knock up to enable mid. It looks like that'll be a flash and flash that. FIT really want to stun. Look at the Cannon Barrage with a powerful slow zone. And just the Emperor's Divide just really makes the approach of FIT useless.
It's not a quadra. But it is an ace, and I think this is actually game with TUP. 15,000 gold ahead, 6 kills ahead, taking away the first game of this TUP versus FIT matchup. Ooh, wow, that was clean from both Acedia, Bomb, Navi as well. Every one of this team just worked together in one seamless unit. Their configurations for the split push and the pressure were beautiful, and FIT, they put up quite a fight, but in the end, the macro game and the pressure from TUP just overwhelmed them.
I would say for TUP that when they used the Celia to be a distraction tool, I think that really caught FIT off guard. And just from the teamwork alone, as mentioned, that TUP, they really have so much trust in each other. Then I would say when you have trust, you have teamwork. And I think I saw the effect of that trust.
Yeah, just having those powerful players that you can just trust to really apply the pressure for your team, uplift your team. The experience as well, backing them up, will definitely help them a lot in this match.
So I think that concludes match 3, game 1, with TUP securing their victory against FIT. I hope they'll see another adaptation like what we see from the other matches itself. We do see a pattern, but do you think TUP might just break that pattern?
That will establish their power in the very first day of LVL, but of course we'll be seeing how that pans out after a short break. We've been your Shoutcasters. I am Atlas, and with me was Vulcan. We'll be seeing you guys for the second game after a short break.
And that would be them backing up Cannon Barrages in the Cerebral Zone, and another drift. 2 members get shielded up, gets blocked by the soldiers themselves, and that will be TUP getting the double kill for Bam. He gets slowed, goes in with a lockdown, but he does get out with the caliber shot. Looks like Nico is there. Oh, flash over that one for his Z, but there is the recover for the protection. Looks like Navi will not survive. The Cannon Barrage was a bit too off. And flash that. FIT really want to start. Look at the Cannon Barrage with a powerful slow zone, and just the Emperor's Divide just really makes the approach of FIT useless.
But it is an ace, and I think this is actually game with TUP. 15,000 gold ahead, 6 kills ahead, taking away the first game of this TUP versus FIT matchup. Wow, that was clean from both Acedia, Bomb, Navi as well. Every one of this team just work together in one seamless unit. Their configurations for the split push.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.